Okay, this is Zoom, Monday, April 20th for construction surveying, 6:30 p.m. We will start around 7:45, a quick Zoom on heavy civil. Okay, and if you can see my screen right now. Whoops, I want to remove that person because that name doesn't ring a bell. Okay, so if you look on April, you're seeing April 20th to the 26th, and all of the stuff that I'm going to go over is under Burger King Vestal. Also, test one documents. Let's talk about the exam. It's going to be a week from today at 6:30 on Monday, and here are the topics. Very gentle. We're not going to put any COGO. We're not going to put any coordinate geometry on the test. That'll be on the second test. The second test will either be during finals week or during time that I bring you back for the hands-on. Probably we'll do it during finals week. I think some of you are going to be moving out of state, so we'll figure that out. But it's going to be drawing C101, C001, and C102. The survey types: a boundary survey, a construction survey, a topographic survey, pipe slope. We talked about those in some of these drawings. And my question to you folks is, if you open this, I want you over the course of the next couple of days to let me know whether you can go to this. You'll be able to be on Vanco because you're taking the test there. You could almost open up Vanco twice. And on one screen, you could have this test one documents. If this doesn't work, then I'll come up with plan B. So in other words, can you look at the preliminary survey? Okay, and we'll view this. We're going to rotate it clockwise. In other words, can you look at this at the same time that you're taking the test? So I don't have to copy this to the actual exam online. So that's what I want you to check, just to see if you can maybe set up Vanco Hall twice. I'll show you that in a minute. But can you look at this? So if I ask you a question about catch basin 19, right? Let's go to here. So catch basin 19 has a rim elevation of 1499.5. The inverts, INV, which is the pipe coming in and exiting. So the west invert is this one, because this is west. This is the, I don't know why they call, trust me, I'm not going to pick this one, but this is the west one, and then this, I think they're saying, is the south, and this would be the north invert. Okay? So I want you to be able to tell me that you can access this during the test, again, so I don't have to take a screenshot. If I do, I do, but I'm just trying to make this a little bit easier on everybody. Okay. Now, when you look at this, here you can see that I'm in surveying. If you go to the website and I open up Vanco Hall again, I now can go to the same surveying one, just to a different page. It's a little slow right now. Okay, so here I'm at the start. Over here, I'm within a folder for the week of the April 20th to the 26th. So that's how you do that. You get on the website and you just click on Vanco Hall twice, and then you can manipulate the same folder or the same course at two different spots within Vanco Hall. Okay.
How long are we going to have to take it?
I'll probably give you 2.5 hours. It's going to be a 1-hour exam, but I'm going to give you at least 2, probably 2.5. I don't want to rush you. I'm going to talk to some of the other, see how they do it. And then I'll send you out an email before the exam, kind of going over the ground rules.
When taking a test on Vanco, does it require us to be in full screen mode? Because I know with one of the other classes, the application we took a test on required us to be in full screen mode so that even when you were trying to log in, it would throw you out at times.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm writing that down. Full screen mode. Okay. Yep.
Because that would defeat us being able to use that PDF, you know?
Right, right. Let me write that down. Use PDF. Okay, good. Thank you. Some of the other thing is going to be on equipment ID. You're going to have to identify different components of the levels. You got the auto set level, and which is the manual level, and the laser level. The electronic theodolite, which you used at the for the Smith Hall lab. That's the last lab we had before everybody left. And then the Philly rod. You got to identify parts of the Philly rod. Okay. You're going to have leveling calculations. Those were, you had a bunch of homeworks on that. You had some, I think you even had a quiz on like a leveling nut elevation. In other words, back sight, HI, foresight, all in terms of leveling. And then the residential layout was the under the test one docs. I don't know if I put that in here. Yep. So this is that residential layout that we use for the Smith Hall lab. We also just dealt with it as if it were just its own residential, house and garage. So I'm going to ask questions on this. Okay. And that's about it. Very basic. Very basic. In essence, it's an open book test, right?
You said we had 2 hours to do this exam, right?
Okay, now we're going to, yeah, I'm using,
Mr. McKeegan, I have a question.
uh-huh.
So what if you you don't want to commit on a question? Because you're before, last class, you're if you answer a question, you can't go back to it. What if you want, can you flag and then go back?
That's a good question, and I'm going to check with my colleagues to see how they do it. I know on statics and strengths quizzes, we call them units quizzes, you cannot go back, but those are very easy quizzes. So I'm going to check on that and see what the other profs do, and I'll put that in the email as well. Yeah, that's a fair question.
Okay. Thank you.
I've heard profs doing that both ways. I'll probably pick the easier of the two.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So that's, one other thing that on your homeworks, and I just put this, I'm going to take this off. You see this thing? Some of you are giving me not a PDF and not a JPEG. You're giving me this .heic. I cannot open it. I've sent you, I put comments at least 2 weeks. This might have been the 3rd week. Do not send it in this format. If you've sent it in this format, I told you that I'll allow you to email it to me this once or twice, but after tonight, no more. Okay, I'm just going to give you a 0. I don't know what it is. I've had the help desk try to help me. It's just something that my computer won't open up. And it's 99% of you are not sending this. You're sending the PDF and the JPEGs, and I appreciate that. Those few of you who are, you got to stop it. Okay? I've given you a break, and the break ends tonight. Okay? I don't even know what the hell that is. And so just remember that. So let's delete that so I don't have to get mad about it. Let's see. Let's go to the PDFs, and let's take a look at the this new PDF that I made you, and that is on Vanco under Burger King, Vestal. If you open this, you'll see the Kogo, Civil 3D Kogo. That's the one I'm going to be talking about. This is the actual Civil 3D CAD drawing that I've been working on, so I've given it to you. If you're able to access Civil 3D, now you have it. I'm not going to make any homework assignments in Civil 3D. It's just not something that I don't think it would be fair, because I'm not convinced that all of you will be able to access it. But I do want to show you in Civil 3D just how powerful this thing is. So again, it's all under this this folder for this week in surveying. So I'm going to go into the PowerPoint so I can change anything that I messed up. And here is the original survey site plan, if you will, that you saw for the Burger King. And what I've done is given you a little bit of step-by-step, and you can see that some of it is gibberish, so I'm going to take that out of there. Hopefully I took it out. Did I do that? Let's see. Yeah. Take this out. Oh, the hell with it. It's just gibberish. So let's go over. Why can I not find this? There we go. Okay. So you'll be checking the original survey versus the deed. You're going to walk the site. A lot of you wrote that, which is great. That's the one thing you want to do. You want to find all the property pins and other points of interest that you're going to need to lay out this Burger King restaurant. The Civil 3D, you're going to plot the property lines, bearings and distances, and you're going to create that boundary as a block. Then you're going to set one property pin as north 2000, east 4000, and then you're going to rotate the survey to the coordinate geometry. We're going to show you that in a step-by-step. This is more for, there's no homework involved in this. We've had 3 homeworks on the Burger King, but this one, that reminds me of one of our friends in industry who had a colleague, I think I told you the story, was down in Maryland. He was not auditioning. He was there for a job. He was interviewing for a job as a surveyor, construction surveyor. And they brought him in, gave him coffee and donuts as usual, and then gave him a set of drawings that he'd never seen before. And they said, we'll be back in about a half hour, 45 minutes, and we want your control plan. We want you to go over that. So he'd never seen the drawings. He never had an interview like that. And so if you get in a situation where they do that to you, I think you're going to be prepared. Whether it's surveying, whether it's highway construction, anything that you go into, try to bring an example of something that you've done in case they come up with kind of like a quiz for your interview. I never forgot that. I thought that was, and this guy had been in industry for 10, 15 years. And in essence, they gave him a test. So think about that in terms of going for interviews. Hopefully you've got something lined up for the summer. If you haven't, send me an email. Tell me where you live. Tell me what you're interested in. I'll see if I can think of a contact. Maybe even do some cold calls to construction sites. A lot of them are still working. Unfortunately, there are some that are not, and hopefully that'll change soon for them. Okay.
So I have a question. Since you didn't know like what it was, he obviously didn't get the job, right?
Yeah, he did get the job. Yeah.
He got the job even though he didn't know what it was.
Well, yeah, they gave him 45 minutes to figure it out. In other words, they didn't want to just have an hour of, just saying nice things about each other. They wanted to see what the guy knew. That was his interview. It was like an exam. And he did a good enough job when they came back. I mean, you can't know everything, but the company knew that he knew his stuff when they came back after 45 minutes because he was ready for them.
Oh, you're saying he did know what to do.
He did, but he'd never seen that project before.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
In other words, he knew where to start. We actually had, I'm
Got
glad you
it.
brought up that question. We had a student interview with a company in Syracuse, and they gave him a 40-question quiz. And I'm going to check into that. He got the internship too. He said it was brutal. And I'm going to write myself a note here. I'll see if I can find some more information. I'm not going to give you the quiz, but I'll give you some hints.
Do they care like what you get on? Like,
Sure.
they obviously do. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or if it's an internship, or would they like help you? Like if they didn't, like they would like take you in and show you.
No, they wanted to know what he knew, or she, and then he or she did well enough on the quiz that they knew that they could train this kid. Now they're always going to help you, but my point to you folks is you got to be able to help yourself and not just ask for every single step of the way from them. That's how I lost my dream job 40 years ago. You've heard the story. I don't want to go into it because we're recording and I'll cry. Okay, now right here. So here's the aerial, and again, it's in PowerPoint, so I just put these red lines in because the aerial is not direct. It's not a drone shot, so it's not directly overhead. There is some distortion with the property lines. Okay, we'll come back to what this X is and what these two lines are. But in essence, you're out at the site, as most of you said, you did a pretty good job. You said, hey, I'm going to walk the sites. I'm going to find this pin. I'm going to find this one. I'm going to find this one. One was original. This one was original. They found it. They also found these two, but they had been set by the surveyor for the owner. So the owner had hired a surveyor to set two pins. They had a third, and I don't know why they didn't set this one. Maybe because it was in the road, but I've seen pins set below the asphalt before. So anyway, here's a site just to kind of reinforce or remind you what we're doing. So here, if you're in Civil 3D, you're basically plotting the property lines, okay? Bearings and distances. So here's kind of the step-by-step. And now I'm going to go into Civil 3D. You can follow along with this. Let's see here. Is this going to work? Let's see. And where did Civil 3D go? That's not helping me out a little bit. Okay, well, we'll go back and forth, but basically you kind of just start anywhere, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to type in units. And damn it, it's going to my other screen. So I got to reach over to there. So here's the screen that shows up. And, you know, you have decimal of degrees, degrees, minutes, seconds, radians, gradients. You want surveyor's units. And there's the bearing. So that's surveyor's units. Okay, you don't hit clockwise. And you hit OK. And then you're going to create a line. Okay. Now you could create a line by northing and easting, but you don't have that. You're going to create a line, and you're going to go on out anywhere into the site. Right? Kind of like a trapeze. I just like doing that. Keep you awake. And you're going to type in at, and that first property line is the south property line that I'm doing, which is 200 feet long, 0.00. The less than sign is the angle, and it's south 89 D for degrees, 18 minutes, 9 seconds west. And there's the line. So this line that I just did is this line. This is the actual thing after it's done. So now, let's see if I can go back and forth to the PowerPoint. I just did that. Use the line command. That's what you type in. And so that's a screenshot of what Civil 3D showed us. I'm not at North 2000 East 4000 yet. Okay. I gotta turn my cell phone pacemaker off or silence it. And so we just did this first line, which is this line right here. Now I'm going to do this line. So here's the bearing, and I forgot to write the distance there, damn it. And so that's that line right there. So let's see if I can go back to there, and oh good, I've still got my my next line. So I type in at 208.57. The less than sign is for the angle, north 17 degrees, 8 minutes, 51 seconds, and that's west. And that makes sense because this line, okay, so this line right here is this line. So if you were to set up a coordinate like right here, see how I actually have my my cursor is a coordinate, right? So I'm moving from here to here in a northwest direction. So is this making sense for you? You're basically plotting the boundary lines. Okay. The next one is at 259.06. Don't put the foot marker down. Angle north 89, 1809. East. And there's that. Now you could say that I should be able to close, but I want to show you this. This last property line right here this last line should close on my point of beginning. So let's see if it does. At 200 angle south 0 degrees, you got to put the 0D in there anyway, 4151 east. Okay, so there it is. This right here is this right here. Now what I could have done is, I don't know if you remember a poly. I could have done that polyline instead of an independent line, and then when I click on it, whoops, over here is a copy. When I click on it, it really is a block already. So let's zoom into here. Ooh, it does not close, does it? Now you think, geez, that looks about 10 feet. So you analyze it and you say, well, what the hell is that distance? It's only 0.03, right? Which is 3/8 of an inch, 0.03 feet. Okay. And so that's not bad closure. So you now have the property. If you go back to your go back to your PDF, which is my PowerPoint. So we've done all these. We now created the lot in Civil 3D. You create the boundary as a block. Okay. And then here's the, let's go back to that. So let's do, you type in block. And this is not really that important, but it's easy to do. And again, it's sending my, so this would be the boundary. And then you want a base point. Could be any one. I'll do make sure it's the first point of beginning. And then I want to select all the objects. Hit enter. Hit OK. Yeah. So there's my block. Okay. There's my block. Now, if you go back to PowerPoint, now we want to create a northing and an easting. I'm going to do, let's see, north 1800, 1800, let's see. I'm just going to change it a little bit. So here we go to points. And you can do a manual point, or you can do it by northing and easting. And so the northing is 2,000. And the easting is 4,000. And that's going to be my 5/8 inch pin, because that's what they call it on the survey, pin set. I'm not going to worry about the elevation. I'll just call it 100. And so that, if you look here, I've got a point right here. And if you hover, oh, come on, if you hover over that point, and it's not going to do it for me, because that is a, no, I know what I'll do. So now I'm going to hover over this point. And it's not doing it, so let's see, I'm going to go point. And I'm going to set a point. Now I'm going to hover over that. See, it says point. And it should say, okay, I had to click on it. Now I right click and I go into properties. And so don't forget it, it says X and Y. This is, X is actually easting, Y is the northing. So there's my 2,000, 4,000. Okay. So now everything's in coordinate geometry. Okay. So I'll put this, actually, I'll leave that right where it is. So eventually, these are the 2 points that I want to get on the house or on the Burger King. That's the actual restaurant. I drew that, say, from the structural drawings, the architectural drawings. I can draw that in as a block. But if you go back to the original, remember we went back to this, and we had all these, this point and this point had offset dimensions from this property line, and this point had an offset dimension perpendicular to this property line. So what I did was I've given you some steps on how to offset. So these are kind of the steps that I'm going to go through for this. Let's go back to Civil 3D. And I'm going to use this one. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this 10 feet to the left. So offset 10 feet, hit enter. I'm going to, make a little line right here. Create line. And this line, then I'm going to erase this one. And what do I do with this line? This is the one that I'm going to offset 69.90. So offset 69.90. And there, folks, is this point right here. Remember that's 69.90. This line is what I just created, and all I did was, when in doubt, offset. I offset up to here. Okay. Let me just check one thing. I got to check an email quick. I think let me send a. Oh shit, I know.